What is your beef? Why do you have such a problem with me?
Can we get the real Andy? I would prefer the real Andy.
Oh, let's get the real Max. I'll take off my mask when you take off your mask, brother.
Because who's your new favorite YouTuber, Ian, that wanted to be on the show with us?
The Madman. The Madman.
Mad Movie Man.
Let's bring on Max Movies because he scares the living shit out of me. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
Mad Max says, I think you should apologize, right? I'm sitting here in a goddamn torn down pool house.
I don't even know
the pool house is torn apart, okay? It's torn apart because I'm remodeling on my $70 webcam, okay? I'm no better than you.
I'm sorry, but don't you guys find it kind of creepy that a 40-year-old man
To me, it's funny. He's a YouTuber. He wears a Dr. Doom mask to interview Tommy.
In all of their videos because they're afraid to show their pale white face. I don't know. That seems a little suspicious to me.
Yeah. Let me get Max in here. Oh, no, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no. Oh, no. I should never have allowed it to happen. I'm already regretting it. No,
especially some dude just wearing a mask all the time screaming at the camera.
Mad Max is here. Never thought I'd see you in my chat. Great costume drawing. Thanks.
Rich, long time. Please take off your shirt and show us some saggy melon.
Yeah!
And please, with some Finnegan Fox enthusiasm,
yes!
show us on the floor. Oh, God, I see what you did there. You son. I like saggy melon.
Oh, there you go.
But, like, it just...
Hard at work.
This
is hard at work.
You messed up now.
Your boss?
Saggy, hold on.
Go get your boss. Go get your boss.
At work.
I need your clout.
Chase it off of me, bro.
I need your clout. Oh, wow.
I'm at work. You see, I'm working. I'm trying to end the night.
Get ready for the
live now while I'm trying to get my job
There's a
done.
reason for that. Get ready for the cancellation live in person.
Get ready for the cancellation. Yeah, you already get canceled. You already know.
Mom!
Yes, honey?
It happened again!
Did you have your mask on?
I always have my mask on.
Oh, I'm not on.
I already told you. I was watching your other stream. You're like, I hope someone shows up. Listen, I'm backing down. I don't have. I can't take the melons.
You don't want this. You don't want
this.
You don't.
I don't know.
You don't.
I know you're stocking shelves. Oh wow, you're
smoke. You do not want to mess with.
See, the accusations were false. Someone said you're doing a lot of texting network, and she's stocking.
Doing a text network, damn right, because this is my job.
No,
my job while we're talking. So
you know what
multitasking.
You know what the reality is. She was texting watching YouTube, and then she's like, "I'm going live. I better stock shelves."
Guest Tommy Telleriso.
Telleriso. Oh my God!
All right. Restart the stream. Restart.
Nice chatting with you. I'll see you guys later.
Jeremy, I just reached 5K. Well, congratulations. Oh, thank you. It really doesn't matter. While you're here, if you'd like to consider memberships, it's only 99 cents.
Rip away, my friend. Rip away.
Because, man!
Movie Madness Entertainment.
Welcome, everyone. Hold on. This is also... This is kind of like a weird hybrid show, you know? It's kind of a weird hybrid show where it's kind of going to be a bit of both a Marvel Mania and an MME. Max is on vacation, so me and Brian are taking over some hosting duties the next couple days. How are you feeling, Brian?
Not too bad. Relaxing day. Got some stuff done. So
I got absolutely nothing done. It's been kind of a very weird day. I barely slept. But we're good. Where to even start? So I guess we'll kind of talk about the elephant in the room first. Last night was kind of crazy and hectic. A lot of stuff went down last night. Zod Rider did a stream that I participated in along with a bunch of other people. It's like a 4-hour long stream. I was up very late, so my head's kind of like all over the place a little bit, but everything's pretty much fine. The biggest thing sort of that I wanted to just kind of speak on is just where things are going moving forward. I'm kind of just over a lot of the drama stuff and kind of just a lot of the squabbling and the fighting, especially in regards to just kind of really everything. At the end of the day, the way I'm feeling about things is I'm never going to get along with everybody, but at least at this point, we can learn to peacefully coexist with each other. There's some things I wish could be different per se, but at the end of the day, none of it really matters. I'm cool with just moving on, letting bygones be bygones. We're all just going to kind of move positively and move where we need to be and refocus on what needs to be focused on, more so than just kind of like worrying about all these little things and all these petty squabblings. Regards to Syl, me and Syl are fine now, as far as I'm aware. Basically, based on the conversation I had to him, because I reached out to him, we're cool. I became a member as a token of good faith. We're going to be okay. Not everyone is going to be warming up to me immediately in that community, and that's perfectly fine because, again, a lot has happened the last 8 months or so. Completely understandable. But at the end of the day, I hope that all of us can just learn something from all this in regards to, let's just all learn to just, again, either ignore each other, learn to peacefully coexist, or just learn that most of the stuff really doesn't matter at the end of the day, and this should just be about having fun. I want to get back to that because none of this is really good for anybody's mental health, right?
Right.
I don't know. I'm trying to best explain as I can, but basically it's just like, we're good. I'm starting over with a clean slate. We're not going to worry about what happened in the past. I don't care what anybody has said about me going back. Whatever happens now, happens now. We're focusing on the here and now. So,
there you go.
I don't know, Brian, if you want to say anything before we move on.
No, I'll just say, I mean, people, some people handled themselves well, some people didn't. I mean, all in all, I don't think people's minds were really changed at the end of the day. And that's kind of why you really have to get to that point where it's like, we could either decide that we're going to coexist on this platform or we're just going to ignore each other. So, I mean, those are the two options at this point. So I think you're taking the high road, RJ, by at least trying to work with the situation.
I'm trying, not only am I trying to work with it, I'm trying to not necessarily work with, but I mean, I'm trying to be more positive and reach out more. And again, really just learn to listen. And again, if I disagree with something, it's going to I think what I've learned over the past year and a half of being on YouTube is that I think myself, a lot of the younger guys, even some older folks, I think really all of us, we have to learn to be a little more mature. We have to learn to be more mature. We got to learn how to handle things more respectfully and be better about the way we conduct ourselves across the board.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So if there's an issue, I can just hit somebody up and be like, hey, what do you mean by this?
Yeah, instead of not addressing the problem, just talking to the person.
And I think the other big issue too, and again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I feel like, one, I think people gossip and do a lot of hearsay way too much. I think people need to stop trying to tell others about what other people are saying. Because at this point, I know people sometimes mean well, and they're like, hey, did you hear what so-and-so said about you? It doesn't do anything but cause issues. If I have to find out that somebody doesn't like me, I'll find out on my own. I don't need you to dictate or tell me when that's going on, right? And I think the other issue is that there's a huge issue of perception across a lot of groups right now because I feel like we only ever see the worst of each other. We don't get to see the good parts of each other. Maybe that's not only is that really, I mean, again, I think maybe that's just an issue on our side, maybe that we kind of have only paid attention to the bad stuff instead of looking at all the good stuff. True. But maybe we should be paying attention a little bit more, trying to find the good in every situation and realizing that at the end of the day, we're all people. All of us have emotions. All of us can be emotional. All of us have feelings that can get hurt. We're only human, all of us. So I think it's better when we work together, or at least learn to work alongside each other versus constantly working against one another. You know?
Well, yeah, no. This platform is too small, and these communities have. But we've rubbed shoulders together for so long that like it's kind of foolish to keep up fighting.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna catch more flies with honey than we will with vinegar. We're gonna get more done or accomplish more things when we are all working together, or at least learning to work alongside one another versus us constantly being at each other's throats. You know,
I just don't like being in the muck and mire of it all.
Right, and that's just kind of the thing. We have to learn sometimes to move on and walk away too. We don't have to be fighting in the trenches every single night. So I will just say this, and I just for full transparency, I reached out privately to Sil. We're pretty much going to be okay now, I think. That's the hope. I'm going to be better about how I conduct myself with all of this. Are there some things I wish could be better? Yeah. Just for full transparency, I'll say this openly. I wish that things with like Matt could be better in regards to the way people talk about and treat him, because he is my friend. But I understand that side may never feel the same way about Matt, and that's okay. There's certain things I wish wouldn't be thrown Matt's way in regards to accusations. I think I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, no.
I wish that would go away, right? But I understand Matt's Matt, and Matt's a big boy. He can take care of himself, and he can rub people the wrong way, and he doesn't really care about being liked, and that's fine. But
yeah, but at the end of the day, he is a man and he is a father, and that's never
right. And that's the other thing too.
That's never something that you just throw around,
Right, but again, I don't blame that. I think the issue is I feel like I threw a lot of ire towards the overall community versus specific individuals, which was wrong of me to do. Right? It's more so just like find the good, call out the bad when you see it, kind of deal. Right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So, hold on.
Here.
Hello.
How we doing, my man? How we doing?
Doing good. We're doing good. We're kind of just going over a couple things real quick at the top of the show, and then we get into the topics. But just to kind of put a bow on that, going forward, in regards to if Geekosity is ever brought up, you're not going to hear me moaning and groaning. You're not going to hear me being an asshole about it. I will look at their articles objectively, just read them for what they are, and not try to make a big kerfuffle about it. I will be mature and professional going forward about that. If Sil's content's ever brought up on video, I will learn to actively listen to it, not easily dismiss it. Nor will I shame anybody for watching his content, because at the end of the day, watch what you watch who you want to watch. You decide who you want to engage with on YouTube, and I will show that same respect to you. So, that's kind of where we're at with things.
Sorry, RJ, is this being recorded right now? Are we in the studio?
Yes, we're live. We're live.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought we're backstage, but anyway, sorry about that. All right, cool. That's good too. Honestly, if my 2 cents in, and you guys hear my microphone, okay?
Yeah,
we can hear you okay.
I mean, who really cares about the Geekosity stuff? Yeah, they got a couple of things right, but so what? I mean, again, a broken clock is right twice a day, so hey. I mean,
well, no. That's kind of the thing I'm talking about, though. If they get something right, I will give them full credit. We're gonna give them credit later tonight because they did get something right.
Yep.
So that's the thing. Like, you can choose not to engage with that website or feel how you feel about it, but I'm not gonna be an asshole about it. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I heard a really dumb bullshit rumor today from everybody's favorite Midnight Cuckers. It was basically how John Favreau was thinking about moving to DC, and I kind of talked to somebody close to the situation and said that is absolutely not true. So anybody spewing that bullshit, just you can just toss that off there. It just there's no way that's gonna happen. He's got too much power there, and Kathleen Kennedy can't before John Favreau to lose him. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Again, sorry to dump that on you, but that just those rumors, man, just always piss me off. And again, that's why I got out of the scooping game, because just there were so many bullshitters out there, my dude. Again, it just gets really fucking frustrating after a while. Yeah.
So, on a more positive note, Well, that was positive. Like I said, we're moving forward, moving 10 forward, right? 10 forward.
Yes, 10
forward. So this is going to be a very different kind of show today because it's kind of a mismatch of Marvel topics and other topics. Later on in the stream, Devin is going to join us from Ye Old Nerdcast to talk about the VFX issues at Marvel. We're going to do a deep dive into that and kind of talk about what crunch actually is, the crunch in the video game industry, and how that kind of connects to everything here.
Yeah.
And what kind of going forward can be resolved in regards to fixing this VFX issue in the entertainment industry. We're going to be talking about unions and stuff in Hollywood too, so that'll be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Although it will be probably a little spicy. I mean, not that it's going to be like political, but it is kind of tying into like the notion of like, do unions work? How valuable are unions going to be in this situation, kind of deal. But before we do, we're going to talk about a couple things first. First off, dive into this. This broke earlier this morning from The Wrap, and that is that Alan Horn is returning to Warner Brothers Discovery as a senior advisor, which this is actually a pretty big deal. I think this is a really good thing.
Yeah.
So,
I think it is good news, but I don't think it's as big as some people are saying it is. I think it is the big news that he's coming back to Warner Brothers, but he's not going to be like an executive position. I actually talked to Matt Bellany about this, and he said no. I mean, he is going to be part of the company, but he's not going to have like a hands-on role of it. He's going to be sort of
no. He's gonna. That's the thing. He's an advisor. He's going to give them advice and kind of give them some pointers on what they could do that could work, and they'll listen to them and they'll decide if they're going to do it or not. But again, it's good to have that kind of leader in the room who has that sort of experience. That's what we're kind of talking about here. So we'll read this article real quick. Hollywood veteran Alan Horn joins Warner Brothers Discovery as senior advisor. CEO David Zaslav brought him on as we transition our film business and hone our motion picture strategy. Former Disney CCO and veteran entertainment industry executive Alan Horn is joining Warner Brothers Discovery as senior advisor. The Wrap has learned exclusively, calling him one of the most respected studio executives in the industry. CEO David Zaslav announced the news in a memo on Thursday, which can be read in full below. Welcome, Anthony. I am thrilled to share with you that Alan Horn, one of the most respected studio executives in the industry, has agreed to assist me in the consultant role during this transition period starting on August 1st. No one knows this business better than Alan does. He has had an extraordinary career spanning nearly half a century. Most recently, he served as chairman and later co-chairman, chief creative officer of the Walt Disney Studios, where for a period of nearly 10 years, he oversaw the production of all motion pictures and the integration of Lucasfilm and the Fox Film Studios, as well as the expansion into producing content for Disney streaming services. Over the past 6 months, I have been fortunate to spend time with Alan. He's been generous and hugely helpful to me, and I've learned a ton about the business from our conversations. I could not be more excited to be able to continue to tap into his thinking, expertise, and stellar instincts as we transition our film business and hone our motion picture strategy for the future. And I know Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi are equally excited of Alan's ear. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of just a bit of a warm congratulation. Alan Horn used to work for Warner Brothers before he retired, then went to Disney.
He was the guy that greenlit the Harry Potter stuff, the Lord of the Rings, the Dark Knight. Like he's had a legendary run there, and then it was actually like Toby Emmerich that pushed him out. And it's kind of funny that Toby Emmerich is now like sort of like has like a more hands-off role there. I mean, he's still at the company, but
I mean, Alan Horn was instrumental at Warner Brothers during some of their like biggest success years. Like I said, Harry Potter, the Nolan trilogy. He worked alongside Ben Affleck with Argo and stuff. So I mean, this is a good thing. Like there's no bad news with this. Again, somebody like Alan Horn, one of the most talented film executives in the business. I mean,
his name
there's
is
nothing
the
wrong
GOAT.
with getting his advice. So
yeah, and again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come off negative there. I'm just saying, like, just temper some expectation there. I think he's going to do a good job advising there, but don't expect like Kevin Feige or like somebody else like me. Well, maybe.
Well, no, he's very old. He's retired twice.
Yeah,
he's just
totally.
kind of giving
I mean,
advice.
I'll say this: if Aslov somehow get Bob Iger, it's over. It's over.
I don't think they're gonna get no Bob Iger.
I say if he get him, it's over.
Bob Iger has to fight. Has to. This is. I'll tell you this much. Like this whole thing is very much like Bob Iger's like Revenge to Chapek, who is literally just, man, that Chapek's really screwed the pooch at Disney. Oh my God, he's done such a fucking horrible job. I can't tell you how many like Disney employees from like all sectors of the company hate him. It is really crazy to me. But I have a feeling he's not going to last as long there. I know he got his contract like extended, but again, so did Peter Rice, and guess what? A few months after that, he got out. So I wouldn't.
Hey, listen, Samir, this is a great point. I would love if Alan Horn would help Zaslav get Christopher Nolan back into the company's fold. That'd be really good.
We'll see about that because it all depends on how like Oppenheimer does, which I do think is going to do very well. And again, you got to keep in mind also, like even though like that might be true there, we got to see like how like that Oppenheimer and the Barbie thing does there, because again, like that is a choice. Like again,
I think Barbie's going to do better than Oppenheimer.
I
they'll both do
think.
well.
I think that. Well, after this thing, I personally think Christopher Nolan probably talking to Warner Brothers, because like Alan Horn was the one that pitched him the like, can you do us like a Superman movie, and he did, and then that's the reason why Zach came to do Man of Steel. So like, I mean, I think it's a good job for Warner Brothers and need something, and then the first day back, he get Ben Affleck back. That's crazy.
That was probably planned beforehand. Honestly, that was.
I don't know. That's a coincidence. I would just say that.
Yeah. Hollywood does not work like that as much as some people think it is. But you know that is kind of cool there. It's kind of nice little like fun like little like toss up there. But again, you know, like I'm pretty intrigued with what's going to happen there. I do hear that the DC head's going to be announced soon in the next couple weeks or to a month there, so that's gonna be kind of interesting. Again,
I mean, Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi are taking over starting August 1st, so it makes sense they would start getting in that process of getting somebody in there pretty quickly.
It's gonna be Mike DeLuca's show. Like it's gonna be their party to run there. And again, I wonder like how well they're gonna do there. It's just pretty good because again, they did a pretty okay job with MGM. And it's in the stuff they did Creed, they did some other stuff there. So I think they're in pretty okay hands. I'd give them like a solid like 78% success rate. That's still pretty good in the range there.
I think they would do good for the studio.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
Personally, I mean, like,
yeah,
it's good. I think they're gonna do it.
Yeah. And as for like Walter Hamada, people are wondering what he's going to do. He's probably going to do something similar to like Toby Emmerich, who's basically going to have like an open contract with the studio where he's still going to be part of the studio, but he's not going to be like the head of anything. He's going to be like a sort of like Amy Pascal or something like that.
Personally, I think what's going to happen, I think they might send him back to New Line Cinema.
Maybe, but again.
Speaking of some turmoil right now with not really turmoil, but just some interesting new. Oh no!
What is it?
Paywall? Really? The rap? Okay, well screw you then.
Go
to Hollywood Reporter.
Maybe go to Yahoo.
MGM has lost the rights to Tomb Raider. And the Tomb Raider sequel that was going to be directed by Misha Green starring Alicia Vikander has been canceled. Alicia Vikander will no longer be Lara Croft, as a bunch of studios are now trying to clamor for the rights and get their hands on this property, likely to reboot it again so they can get it back. So
Amazon, like, bro, honestly, you own MGM. Like, what the bro?
Honestly, I'm gonna be
how?
I'm gonna be fucking
how
honest
you
with
lose
you.
The rights?
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I think they just kind of let them go, man. Because, again, the thing about...
It is a shame, because I think that the Tomb Raider sequel had some promise with that talent. So
no,
it
was good.
It got canceled.
It was good. It got canceled. Well, unfortunately, she's going to work on Black Canary now for HBO.
Misha Green, her schedule's cleared up now for Black Canary, so she'll probably just move right into that.
The script is already done for that, so...
Yeah. Again, like the first film did okay. It was just an okay success. I mean,
I think you could have made a sequel though. I think it would have been done okay too.
Yeah,
432 million.
I don't know. We'll see here. If I had to guess where it's going to probably go, it's probably going to either go to Netflix or Apple. That's where I'm probably going to think it's going to probably go.
I think.
Netflix is already developing a Tomb Raider animated series with Haley Atwell voicing Lara Croft. So
there you go.
I think Apple.
Make a live action. Give us Haley Atwell as Lara Croft. I'll take a series any day.
There you go.
Netflix. I don't think Netflix has the money for that right now.
Oh yeah, no, they actually. I disagree with that because the thing about
I don't think Tomb Raider is that expensive to get. Yeah. Let's be fair.
But
actually, Anthony, if I may here, because the thing about people that don't really understand about Netflix They are the only fucking like streaming service actually making a profit. Even if they are like losing subscribers, they're still making a lot of like money there. Like they could definitely afford it. And plus, Tomb Raider, as RJ said, it's not that expensive as you would think it would be because again, this is more damaged good stuff there. So yeah, I think they could probably get it there. I also think Apple could definitely do it. But again, Apple, think about Apple is that they don't really give a shit about making money. They just care about pumping out content and also like selling more Apple products. So
if you have like a series on Apple Plus with Tomb Raider, that would be successful for them, personally. And I mean, Apple almost bought MGM, and then Amazon just like, nope, we're
Yeah.
gonna get that.
Yeah,
So if this was probably under Apple, I don't think they would lose the rights personally. But I mean,
Yeah.
but hey, I guess other
They're more
studios
about
is gonna
focused
get
about
the rights.
original content there, and they're still trying to get some IP stuff in there. But honestly, they're just more focused on like producing more homegrown stuff. And honestly, I kind of respect them for that because again, their stuff is fantastic. Ted Lasso, For All Mankind, even their hot garbage show, The Morning Show, like they have a pretty good lineup there. So we'll see.
Yo, well, I would love that happened.
Yeah,
that would be Tomb Raider with Uncharted. Oh my god, that'll be a great crossover.
Yeah, I mean, Apple TV Plus is working on that Godzilla series.
Yeah, they pay for that. Pay like
Speaking of
$200 million.
Uncharted,
Well, I wanted to read the article just really quickly.
No
So, Tomb Raider is in search of a new home. Studios and streamers are bidding to acquire the film rights to the property that for 9 years was at MGM and is now returned to producer Graham King and his GK Films. Opening bids were taken last week, but things have escalated into a full-out bidding war. Alicia Vikander starred in a 2018 reboot film for MGM and GK Films, earned $275 million globally. Devin, hello.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for stopping by. Did you hear about this? MGM has lost the rights for Tomb Raider. The sequel's been canceled, and all the studios and streamers are trying to get their hands on the property now.
Yeah, I saw that pop up on my stream, but I didn't get a chance to actually look into the story. Like, how do you lose the rights to something like that? Like, what happens there?
Probably because Amazon bought them. That's
no, well, yeah. Amazon did buy MGM, so maybe it was lost in that merger, perhaps. That is a good point, Anthony. So it says so. Basically, the sequel, which was going to be directed by Lovecraft Country creator Misha Green, has been killed, and the role of Lara Croft is expected to be a recast. MGM, which recently was sold to Amazon, was involved with Tomb Raider thanks to a 2013 deal with GK Films, which acquired the rights from video game maker Square Enix in 2011. MGM did not respond to comment. So basically, this is like a feeding frenzy. It's saying apparently that studios and streamers are now hungrier than ever for known IP, and a lot of people want to get their hands on this. So
that's good.
We will see what happens with that, but this is going to be a very developing story. I think Netflix, would probably be the most logical home for this because
Yeah,
they're
it's
already
probably gonna be
working on a Tomb Raider animated series with Haley Atwell.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a good place for this.
Maybe they
Maybe an
could cancel
Amazon,
that.
maybe a Warner Brothers. It could be
I
a
don't know.
lot of different places.
Yeah. Hey,
know
RJ, after this story, I actually want to touch upon another Netflix story that I've found kind of fascinating, actually. Also, after this, if you don't mind me talking about it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I mean, there's just a couple stories we want to get to.
No problem.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
probably
either way, this is going to be interesting because I really don't know where they're going to get this. Where are they going to get
my guess? I would say Netflix, Apple, or Amazon. That's the only three I could think of. Oh,
maybe
maybe
it's Disney. Disney gets Tomb Raider.
Oh, Disney. If Disney gets this for Disney Plus, yo, that will be huge for them. Huge.
I just feel like this is something that Warner Brothers would probably spend
For
the most
HBO?
amount of effort.
For HBO?
Yeah. They need more exclusive stuff for HBO,
Yes, they do.
and I feel like this is like perfect for them.
Well, look at Sandman. How you give that away to Netflix? Like, come on.
Well, that's licensing because Netflix
Licensing,
put
that's
up the
true.
money to get it on their platform, even though Warner Brothers made it. So
Netflix is there, everything. So. Yeah.
So there's another story that just broke. I know it's sacrilege to talk about DC stuff on a Marvel stream. But this is actually probably the biggest news of the day. So we're gonna start here because, like I said, I give them full credit. Sil Abdul and Mikey Sutton broke the story first, and they were proven to be correct. This is 100% happening. Ben Affleck as Batman is rumored to appear in Aquaman 2. They kind of went over that basically they switched out Michael Keaton's cameo for Ben Affleck.
What?
That's basically what's happened. Originally, Michael Keaton was going to cameo in this, but due to the shifting release dates, they switched him out. They switched it out.
Well, they probably pay Michael Keaton money.
Yeah, honestly, I'm actually not that surprised about it because again, I heard from the Aquaman 2 test screenings, and again, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't hear very good things about Aquaman 2 at all. Like I heard very not good things about the movie, but I did hear the Michael Keaton stuff wasn't working, so kind of replaced it.
Well, yeah, because it makes no sense. It was confusing for the test audiences, so seemingly they've kind of left things out, So again, I give props to Sil because he broke the story first before anybody else,
Good
and
for
then
Sil, I guess. When was that article published exactly?
that article was published the other yesterday or the day before. Sil broke the story early because then it got confirmed because this comes from IGN. Jason Momoa took to Instagram to say this. I will click on the Instagram post because actually it's important to look at that because it kind of gives a lot more context about everything in regards to what's going on with that. Because basically, it's like they kind of got they kind of had to reveal this early because you know how they do Warner Brothers tours in the WB lot. Well, a bunch of fans saw Jason walking around like, what the hell's going on? So he took to Instagram 3 hours ago saying, reunited Bruce and Arthur. Love you and miss you, Ben. WB Studio Tours just explored the backlot, all right? We got busted on set. All great things are coming. Aquaman 2. All my aloha, Jason. So you got a couple pictures there.
It's funny how he got the Bruce Wayne wig going.
They actually got a video of the tour bus too.
Yeah, look at
that's
that.
funny.
That's good.
That's actually pretty classic.
That's what happens, Warner Brothers. When you walk out of your set.
Oh yeah, I've actually been on that tour, by the way. It's actually pretty fun. You get. I actually met one of the How I Met Your Mother stars on. That was pretty fun.
Well, we tried to keep it a secret. All right, here we go.
BA.
Thank you. Oh,
talking to Jennifer Lopez.
Sorry, bro.
You're talking to Jennifer Lopez.
Whoops. Well,
that's
well, it's not a fucking.
Jennifer Lopez.
So the secret's up. They officially announced it. Ben Affleck will return in Aquaman 2.
Do you know what's crazy?
What's your guys' reaction to this?
Actually, hey, RJ, if I may ask, like, what do you think? Like, do you think them sort of doing the Ben Affleck thing kind of makes them change stuff with the Flash? Because again, I do hear the Flash is fantastic. I hear that's probably the strongest.
Well, yeah, I will get to that in a second because I'll say my piece on this last. Well, no, I'll go first then. Yeah, I think that this actually is pretty significant. You couple this with the Alan Horn thing. I'm not going to sit and go jumping in my seat up and down being like, oh my God, everything's fixed. Everything's going to go back to where it was. Oh my God, they're all returning. But this is a great thing. This is awesome for fans. I think it's going to make Aquaman 2 a much more anticipated movie now that you have Ben Affleck in there. And whatever role, even if it's just for one scene, for reshoots, doesn't matter. He came back after saying he was going to be done after Flash. So, I mean, the fact he even came back for this, I thought was shocking because he seemed to be done. He hanged up the suit. He was walking away. He was good with leaving with Flash. He came back for this, though. I mean, that's just a great thing for fans. I think all around this is a major win for DC fans. I mean, this is trending. Everyone's really happy about this. I think it kind of speaks to the fact that people want more from certain actors and characters. And you know what? New leadership's coming in. And I think that it would be ignorant of us to just kind of sit here and be like, there's no way they're not listening or looking at this. Are they going to completely change the Flash movie? I don't think so, but I think they can rearrange certain things at the end of it to leave doors open rather than closing them completely. That's kind of the way I look at it, but I want to know what you guys think about this.
I think it's amazing. I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan as Batman. 10 out of 10. He's in my opinion, is best Batman on screen. And second, Robert Pattinson, then Michael Keaton. But I think he's amazing. Jason and James, damn. for James Wan getting back Ben Affleck just to do a quick reshoot, scene for like maybe a day or 2 or 3 maybe. It's amazing. I can't wait to see what the scene is and stuff like that. I know there's probably, I know because Ember's in it and stuff like that. But I hope the movie doesn't suffer because of that. So, and I hope they I hope the executive like rethink the ending of the Flash movie, like maybe rework Ben Affleck contract so like he could make cameos and appearance, like like how I said maybe like Iron Man does, or maybe like Spider Man, who knows, like something, make a cameo, not have him like suit up in the suit.
I would
and
like
have him,
that.
like,
You know, just he's in small supporting roles. Just
Yeah.
have him like do some cameos. That'd be fun.
Because let's be honest, Michael Keaton only, no disrespect, I love Keaton, but he only got a couple years left. I'm not gonna, not to be signed effed up, but he only got a couple years left, and it's just like every time we're gonna see Michael Keaton on screen, it's like, okay, that's a stunt double. That's not Michael Keaton all doing those stunts. So like, I'm happy Ben Affleck is back for this movie, and James Wan did a good job to bring him back. And yeah, and then in the background, to say that the Black Manta scene, so I guess they're reshooting that, which I hope is good. So yeah, think. No, I wonder what's gonna happen him and the Flash or Amber Heard in this movie. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean
I'll let
that's
you
the
get
other
them.
facet to this too. I was muted by accident. I was gonna say the other facet of this too is that they are starting reshoots. So I mean, what's gonna go on Amber Heard?
And the Flash
Mira?
hasn't.
Who
The
knows?
Flash hasn't too.
And the Flash has not
has
done
no
reshoots
reshoot.
yet either. They have not done reshoots yet. So I
It's
don't
been
know.
like a year.
A lot of stuff's
I-
in flux. So
I think with the Flash, they're still trying to figure out what the fuck they're going to do with Ezra. If I had to make a prediction, this is not from a scoop. This is basically my own prediction. I think they're going to reshoot the ending. They're going to get a new actor. It's going to be a new timeline. They're going to get a new face for the Flash, and I have some evidence to back that up. Just saying.
I think Flash is going to be reshot to be like a Michael Keaton movie.
No,
No,
that's
they already
300
spent so
million.
much
They're
money
not
on
gonna
it,
There's
man.
spend
They're
no
not
way
gonna
that's going
reshoot
to
it.
happen, my dude.
The Flash was the old WB money, the over G money. It's
Nah,
not
dude.
Aslev money, so they're not gonna reshoot that. There's
I'm
no
telling
way
you,
in
my
hell they
dude.
can
Like
do
the
that.
Flash is too good to just like cut it up like that again.
The ending, yes, the ending makes sense.
The ending,
yes, but
the
not
ending's going to be like the main thing. They're going to probably like tweak together in there, and I think they'll probably be fine there. Again, I kind of agree with Max. Like I don't really think Ezra Miller wants to be the fucking Flash anymore. Like I think he's made that kind of abundantly clear with his actions. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's kind of weird. But again, I'm looking forward to the Flash. Again, as I said before, I heard the movie's good. It's really fun. It's pretty crazy there. In fact, Chris Gore was saying, "Oh, they should have announced had Ezra Miller apologize at Comic-Con." And I'm like, dude, there's no fucking way they would have done that, my dude. It's too fucking soon.
Well, you know what's really funny too, and because I want to jump to Devin real quick to get his thoughts on this, but I want to say what's really funny about all this.
Yeah,
this is a more exciting announcement than anything they had at Comic-Con, and it's just an Instagram post.
If you look at the likes from Ben Affleck returning, it got more than Michael Keaton returning for DC fandom when they make it official, which is hilarious. Like everybody want to see more of Ben Affleck. I'm sorry, Michael Keaton was a great Batman 30 years ago, 100%.
Wait.
But as of now, it makes no sense. If you're doing a Batman Beyond, yes, with Terry McGinnis. But now it doesn't make sense to bring him back.
Yeah. Well, Devin, what do you think about all this, man? Like Ben Affleck returning, and what does this mean for Aquaman 2 and DC going forward?
I mean, it's great for fans of Ben Affleck and his take on Batman. Like, I get the sense that he I mean, maybe he really genuinely likes being Batman. Like he said he was done. Probably had some bad experiences, it seems. Maybe he just didn't want Robert Pattinson to show him up, so he came back.
Honestly, I kind of feel like he kind of I feel like he kind of like sweetened up the idea after the Snyder Cut, after like the well received that thing. I think honestly the Snyder
could
Cut
be it too.
Well, I think he's also in a better place mentally too. I mean, he's married to Jennifer Lopez again. He seems happy. He's sobered up.
Yeah,
came back free for Zach.
He was in rough shape shooting Justice League. So
he was like sucking the bottle pretty hard.
yeah.
So is this the only source we have of him?
No,
No, there's more articles
Because
too
if
about
you
this. But yeah.
reread
The Hollywood
what he
Reporter already
says,
confirmed it. Yeah.
It's like a
like
fucking picture there.
Warner
Unless it's like
Brothers studio
Photoshop.
tour.
No, this is from Jason Momoa himself. So this is as real as it
Yeah,
gets.
it's Warner Brothers studio tour.
I can't just sit here and listen.
Right.
Honestly, this is not honestly, this is not as big as people think it is. This is just a course correction that they needed to do because it's before the Flash. Because
But still, it's a good thing for fans, though.
I agree. It's a good thing for fans, but I think people are over exaggerating this. This is something really cool for this movie. At the same time, it's just because, and the reason why this is happening is because of the placement of this movie and release.
Well, let the WB fans have their win, man. They took it on the
just
chin
because you're a Ben Affleck
studying a
hater,
Comic-Con.
I'm not. No, I'm
Ben
just
Affleck
setting.
hater.
I'm just
Yes.
setting expectations because I think expectations are at a exceptionally high right now when they should be lowered because it's only one scene and it's not like he's going to be the Batman. It's not.
I thought it was two scenes. I thought it was two scenes.
No, like I said, it's the scene. There's two scenes for Keaton and one scene for Affleck. The second scene for Keaton does not make sense for Affleck at all. Like, so it's only one scene.
Well, I mean, that's
for
what I'm
Affleck.
saying. They could redo the two scenes that Keaton was in completely and just put it in Ben there instead.
But also, I mean, but look, Ben Affleck is happy.
And also, well, it's because so the two things that were in place for this to happen was the Aquaman 2 release date being moved, and also the test creating confusion of why is Keaton here. And so, and then also now Ben Affleck. Another thing is also, Affleck if you look at the recent things, Affleck has only been shooting at most a week. So he's not going, and also the scene he's shooting is not in the bat suit.
I mean,
So
I don't
it's-
think anyone has an expectation that this is going to become like a two.
I mean, nobody thought he was going to be in this movie, period.
No, but I think the reaction.
Well, I mean, people are excited. It's Ben Affleck. He hasn't been Batman for a while. Like they thought he was done with it, and here he is. He's all clean shaven.
I think the reaction is an overreaction. I think some people have an overreaction.
No, that's the thing. And I love you, Caden, but I just want to say this though. DC fans at this point have been like so neglected and thirsty for anything good. I mean, I understand why they're like jumping for joy with this, you know?
I understand, but I think that I'm with you guys. I'm 100% with you guys. But at the same time, I'm not with the overexcitement of this. This is not something that is like huge in the aspect.
Well, let me ask you this,
where
Caden.
Affleck
Is
going
there
to return
any
for everything.
possibility? Let's go to this then. Is there any possibility that they see the response to this, they see how much it's trending and how much it's kind of blowing up, and they think to themselves, well, maybe let's like leave some doors open for Flash instead of closing doors on certain things or certain
The door's
characters.
still open after Flash for
Well, they
Affleck.
could reshoot that though.
It's still open. Like the doors. Like the thing is, the door was never closed for Affleck. The door has never been closed for Affleck. That whole thing that the door has been closed on Affleck is so weird and like it's never been.
Well, I mean,
closed.
Listen, Cavill too. Cavill's another important piece.
Cavill's another piece that's a whole other story. The Cavill and Affleck are two separate stories that people happen to mesh together. They're two separate stories and two separate different reasons on why like certain things are going on with those two.
So you want old ass Michael Keaton?
No, I'm not saying I'm
That's what you
like,
said.
Okay, I know
No.
what Caden's trying to say. Okay, Caden's trying to say, don't go jumping the gun saying everything's confirmed because of this. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a picture of them reuniting
No, I got
on
you,
set.
CJH. But on the same token, he is downplaying the importance of this because up till this point, we were pretty much done with Affleck as Batman, correct?
Well, we knew he was going to be in
So-
Flash, and that was it.
Yeah. So I mean, him being in another movie, more murmurs of Kate. The best thing they could do right now, honestly, is not reboot and kind of just try to salvage what they have and make the best with what they have.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
mean,
thank you.
the thing is, like, a lot of those movies that have been coming out in the DC realm the past few years, most of them are pretty decent. Like, I can't really think of any that were
Well,
like
they're also
so,
very standalone too, so they can fit wherever.
and that's fine. Yeah, because of the fact that most of them are standalone, like you could pretty much go from wherever you want from there. And most of these actors, with the exception of like Ezra Miller, you know, good in their roles, well liked by fans, and you know, are generally seem to be. I mean, I didn't think Ben Affleck would be down for this again, but apparently he is. So they all seem to be cool with it. It seems like they could easily transition to a point where they just pick up where they left off. I guess after Justice League, if they really wanted to. Now, I'm not saying that they're gonna, you know, go get Zack Snyder back. Who knows about any of that shit? But as far as like all of the principal actors are concerned, like they all seem to be on board.
Yeah, I guess for me, and this is
I mean,
where I'm
Viewer
at,
None did say something about this, though.
yeah, we can look at that. I want to look at Viewer Non and Grace's tweets in a second.
Oh, she was pissed.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
Grace
Oh,
Randolph was actually
100%.
very.
Oh my God, she
Grace
was
was
not
Grace was pissed about this, and she did like a full rant on Twitter.
Honestly, I
Because she
can't
did
really
a-
blame her. I can't really blame her. After watching her DC
No,
video,
you can
No.
blame her because every
No,
time
you
she
can
gets a
blame her
scoop
because,
wrong,
yeah.
she gets really, really, really mad that she got it wrong and blames the project on, like, blames the fans, blames the project. Like, she
Let's
doesn't
look at
like being
Viewer
wrong.
On first, but I just want to say real quickly, for me, it's more important that some of these actors and characters stay around than anything else. That's all I want. I just want these actors to stick around and get to do more. Because I feel like there's been so much missed opportunity not using them. You know, that's just me though. That's where I'm at with stuff.
Missed
So-
opportunity was not having the Ben Affleck movie. Still one of the biggest robberies
So
in history.
remember a while ago, Viewer Non kind of teased that maybe something was gonna go on with Ben.
It was last year, right?
And then he said, heard repeatedly that test audiences were confused by Keaton's teasing Aquaman 2, so I'm glad Affleck's getting another go. Which that makes sense. He kind of switch it out, make it make more sense because he switched release dates.
Wait, is Keaton
Talk about
getting
Zack Snyder too.
cut
Oh,
out?
Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, what's the name of that show?
It was
Beyond
I used to
Belief,
watch it
Fact
all
or
the time.
Fiction.
Yes,
Fact or
thank
Fiction,
you.
yes.
Used to watch the show all the time.
I started watching it on my Twitch stream a couple months ago with a friend of mine, and we planning to bring it back. So I'll let you know.
Check that out, man.
Yeah, that show was actually really good.
Somebody
I
asked
love
him
that
about
show.
that too.
And they said, I have no inside knowledge, but I suspect that Ben Affleck changed his mind after getting a couple years off post Justice League and then seeing the outpouring of love. And when he returned for the Snyder Cut, there's way less pressure on him now.
What does it say down there?
yeah, I could see that being the case there. You know, can you guys hear my microphone? I'm sorry.
Definitive. What is the definitive?
No, he's just saying that it's likely you're going to see Ben more going forward. Kind
Somebody
of.
asked him about Zack Snyder. I don't know if it's those. I think somebody asked him.
Well, he said it's not impossible for Zach to come back, but it's probably just not far off, or it's far off.
Yeah, I take that as it's an open door to him.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
but then we got to get to Grace though, because
Somebody else
Grace.
tell stories with these characters.
The blonde stuff. I haven't kept up with the Ana de Armas blonde movie at all. I've not watched that trailer, so.
Sure,
I have
she's
not
saying
taken
crazy
that.
shit about that movie, which is like, oh my
That
gosh.
actually looks like a good movie trailer.
But I gotta talk about this because Grace had like a meltdown on Twitter. So hold on. Clearly we ain't never gonna move past this shit. The DCU will never ever be free to build again. Wow, those Wakanda Forever trailer views must have really scared Aquaman 2.
No, it didn't.
Plus, perhaps need to reshoot Michael Keaton end credit scene with the Flash delayed.
Well, here's the thing.
So she's pissed. She's pissed.
Okay, how is the DCEU gonna rebuild when the key players of the DCEU aren't in it?
Well, this just comes across like very salty. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's not like
yeah.
She is salty.
You can't celebrate that he's back and to be like, this sucks. This is horrible.
Well, the first line right there, we ain't ever gonna move past this shit. Move past what shit? Like what needs to be moved past that?
Well,
like Ben Affleck filming with.
We're gonna get to that because she explains. On the bright side, maybe someday when they're super desperate enough, they'll bring back Henry Cavill.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate.
No, she sounds fucking pissed, bro.
But then she says this. Okay. So she supports this. This is why she's against it. So this guy said, "Why have you gone against the Snyderverse now?" She's against it because DC is never consistent. It's very hard to make it successful that way. Thank you.
Well, I mean, this is the most consistent thing they could do. Ben Affleck has been Batman in this universe.
Right.
So like returning him to this role, even for like a couple of short scenes, is like the most consistent thing they could do.
You know what I find kind of bizarre though? It's like they can get Ben Affleck for all these cameo appearances, but like why the fuck can't they get like Henry Cavill, who's basically
That's
like
Darlene Garcia.
he's basically like a B level like actor. He's not like an A-lister. Like he should be like pretty easy to get. Like Ben Affleck's like an A+. Like,
well, I mean, I think that's Cavill working with his agent to try to get him into A+ money.
Yeah.
You know, like he isn't at the same spot he was when he first signed up to Man of Steel, because he's done quite a bit since, including like he is the face of The Witcher now, which is a massive worldwide famous IP. So like he is not what he was when he did Man of Steel.
I would also counter that by saying like why is he like only like going to streamers though? Like that to me like says a lot though. Like why?
Well, I mean, it's not like he only went to streamers.
More money.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, he was prominent role Mission Impossible and all that.
But for the most part, like a lot of like after that, like he hasn't made deals with Universal, he hasn't made deals with like any more Paramount stuff. I mean, it kind of tells you something about.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that that's like an indication of anything. It could be that they just didn't have anything that he was interested in. I don't know those facts, but like, you know, we at least know, you know, that Netflix was interested in him for, you know, a pretty major property, not just Witcher, but also that Enola Holmes and all that.
Yeah, but
even Apple is interesting. He's doing that with Matthew Vaughn.
Argyle, yeah, the next Matthew
Argyle,
Vaughn.
I'm kind of curious how that's going to do exactly, because there's going to be another story I kind of want to touch upon there. It's like after a certain Netflix movie, I would be kind of worried about like Matthew Vaughn. If I were Matthew Vaughn, I'd be kind of worried. That's just me.
But then it goes on, because then this goes on. It says all normal DC fans and casuals stuck on this roller coaster. Just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in.
Stay salty, bitch. Stay.
Whoa!
Like, I'm sorry, bro.
Don't call her that.
I don't care at this. She always mad about something, bitching and complaining. Like, bro, let fan be happy. Ben Affleck said, I was done 3 years ago. Jimmy Kimmel, now he's back. Let it be. Like, damn. Shit.
Then someone replies, is you're really that bothered by the fact that you wrongly said he never returned? I'm bothered by the fact this conversation with his ridiculous conspiracy theories is never going to end. I don't care that Batfleck is back. Is he even really back? Who the hell knows? I do care that hateful, toxic fans and people who prey on the Snyder fans got another win.
Okay, and bro, oh my God, let them be. They're celebrating that he's back because that's their Batman. Grace. Some people in the Snyder fandom like Barry Patterson, but they love Ben Affleck more. Just let it be. Oh my gosh, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and then she ended with this. Today was a crazy day. People calling the fictional and graphic rape of Marilyn Monroe art, and cultists are convinced a small cameo definitely means the return of the Snyderverse. See y'all tomorrow.
Nobody's saying that,
like,
but okay, guys. Like, really?
I just can't believe Grace is calling people cultists now. Like, I just don't understand this.
I have never seen Grace that savage before. That is like a new. That's crazy. Something must have like triggered her like that bad. I don't know.
That's what she should be banned from New York. But next time I see her, no, I ain't gonna say.
No.
I ain't gonna say. But she should be banned. She should be banned from New York City.
You can't ban someone from New York
City.
I'm gonna ban her from California as well while we're at it.
Thank you, Grace.
Ban
Thank
her
you
from everywhere.
Thank you, Katie. She should be banned from anything. She should be banned from talking movies. She should be
But
banned.
Jeffrey, here's the thing, though, man. Okay, like, listen, we've all said our piece about like whether or not we think it's gonna happen or not. But like, why shouldn't they get to eat a crumb like this? This is a good thing.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, Marvel fans have been feasting nonstop for like a decade. It's okay for like the WBDC fans, the Snyder fans, to get a little something here and there. Like,
Yeah,
this isn't a blood sport. We're just talking about movies that are being made. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
cool that
Yeah,
they
actually,
like.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's cool that they like that. You know, they like Ben Affleck as Batman, and it's cool that they're going to get to see him come back. That's fine.
I just think, again, like this antagonistic perspective, I think is what's kind of wrong right now. And it's kind of interesting this happens the day after all that stuff went down. Because I think this is an example of what not to do, how not to act. Like this is like this is how I think we, like some of us, including myself, are dangerously approaching levels of. And I'm glad I stopped myself from going this unhinged and deep with stuff.
Yeah,
because this is exactly what you should not be like and how you should not react or act towards fans.
Like, I don't know what he's so mad about.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Actually, RJ, I definitely agree with that. And again,
that's just my take. I don't know how y'all
I'm
feel
gonna get
about
into
what
that more
Ray
of the
said.
Marvel VFX stuff there, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. She just pissed, man.
Okay.
Like, bro, just let fans eat. Let fans do whatever they want. Like, they're happy. That's their Batman. That's my Batman as well. But, like, let them be.
Yeah. Hey,
Well,
RJ.
yeah, even if it's not, though, Kavari, I'll just say this again. I think people should be allowed to express excitement over getting to see their favorite actor, their favorite Batman come back again when they thought it was just going to be one movie, you know? So, I mean, that's just kind of where we're at right now. I think it's okay for fans to be happy.
Yeah,
High
like,
school,
I
low.
definitely agree with that. If people are happy with this, hey, man, that's fantastic. That's great. That's awesome. I am not going to take that away from you at all. Again, I try to be positive for most things. And again, if I'm coming off negative, I deeply apologize. That's not the way I'm supposed to come off that way. And I hope I'm making that clear there.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah,
but,
hey,
yeah, what's up?
Do you have any other stories there? Because I actually wanted to get to like another story here that I found quite fascinating. It has to do with Netflix.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that real quick, and then we're gonna get
So RJ, can you like pull up the Gray Man sequel announcement?
There was a Gray Man sequel announcement.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch that.
Yeah. So here's
You
the thing
didn't
about
know,
it. So,
RJ?
It's a good movie.
Talked about it first.
Yeah, I actually did really quite like it there. But you want to know the reason why they announced the sequel and a spinoff was because the numbers came in for the Gray Man, and again, I really like the movie, but they're kind of disappointing. Like it got into the top 10. Again, that's 2 Russo brothers films for Netflix that are in the top 10. But you got to remember that this is Netflix's like most expensive film yet, $200 million. And like the fact that it only made 5th place, I think is kind of something. And again, Scott Mendelsohn was like on the ball here. So, and again, I hope these things do happen because again, I'm really interested in this. But it is kind of tells you like how. And again, the thing that I do think the reason why this movie didn't succeed as well is because again, I think Netflix did a fucking horrible job marketing it. I think it did a horrible job marketing it because again, we were waiting for a trailer until like May, like 2 months out, and it should have been like in like April or March. But this is the thing about Netflix that they can refuse to like fucking promote their content. It just continues to bite them in the ass. Like they can spend all this money on these fucking like good projects there, but if you don't fucking promote them, nobody's gonna know they're there. And the same thing happened with like, and this is always something that kind of happens with like, and again, like Red Notice, it's happened to Red Notice, but thankfully that movie had like The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and that was able to crush records, no problem. Same with Don't Look Up, but this, I don't know, man. This is kind of a wake up call for Netflix. Maybe kind of like crack the fucking whip when it comes to like spending some fucking money on marketing shit. And I was actually talking to Matt Bologna about this as well, and he definitely agreed with me on this. So, what do you guys think of this?
I think it's good news. But then again, you Red Notice is shooting back to back next year. So yeah.
I wouldn't guarantee that these 2 things are going to happen though, because again, I think it all hinges on the Russo brothers' next project, which is with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt there. But man, they have got to start fucking promoting their fucking content because holy shit, this is like one of their biggest problems.
Yeah, I mean, well, 88 million viewing hours compared to 149 for Red Notice, 111 million for Don't Look Up. That is pretty low and lower.
That is pretty disappointing. It's pretty disappointing. And also, the Adam Project was able to like beat it by a couple million. Like that is like.
Well, Don't Look Up also had the benefit of a lot of like viral engagement too.
It did, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and also it got promoted like.
I will say, for being like Netflix's most expensive movie, I think on par with Red Notice, and having such great talent involved, I do feel like the marketing campaign was very weak for this. I feel like there was not enough buzz going into this. I think the mixed reviews didn't help this thing either. And to be honest, I feel like this movie got overshadowed by Nope. I think it got overshadowed by Comic-Con.
Also, they picked a bad release date for this thing too. This should have been released in August. But for some reason they thought, oh, we're going to put it in the middle of July, and it just backfired on them. This is not a Russo brother. It is kind of the Russo brothers' fault because they could have made it better. I mean, again, I like the movie, but this is like the Netflix, this is like a systematic problem with Netflix. They don't plan out their stuff. They don't plan out their releases that well, and they don't market them the way that regular studios do. Because again, again, a great example. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they made sure that movie was promoted like early 2019, and guess what? They got rewarded for it. It went up against Lion King, no problem. And this should have been the same case there, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna sound like a broken record here.
No, like I said, I think you bring up some good points. It is interesting, kind of like to see where Netflix is at right now, and to see one of those big movies kind of like not perform as well as anticipated.
Well, Red Notice bombed at the box office, didn't it?
But the box office didn't matter for that movie. Let's be fair; it was limited engagement in one theater chain. So I
look, like Red Notice is shooting back to back next year, and with Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds and The Rock. Great Man, I mean, they could pull that off. They probably could give it to another director.
I don't know. I mean, if it's not the Russo brothers, then like, what's even?
Well, I mean, look at Extraction. Like the Russo brothers produced it, and that was a stunt double who did that movie.
That's the Extraction one. I do think that sequel is going to probably be a bigger hit than Gray Man.
Oh no, the first movie was amazing. You know the way
that was actually probably Netflix's highest viewed film there. So again, the Russo brothers got credit at Netflix, but this should have been promoted way better and way more frequently than it was, and it shouldn't have been last minute bullshit there. There should have been 2 fucking trailers, and there was just one trailer. And guess what?
They don't know how to market
right after the Mission Impossible trailer, which was like even worse. It was just it was a disaster marketing wise. It was just it was bad. Did
they try to put The Gray Man in theaters?
They did for like 3 or 4, like a week, right?
For a full week, and
So they put it in theaters and didn't market it.
They didn't market it, my dude. That's a Netflix way. That's why they will never be able to like do that. That's why I'm kind of skeptical about Knives Out doing a 45-day window, because again, they suck at promoting stuff. They really are terrible at it. It's like
Knives Out was a good movie. They should
Knives
promote
Out is a
that
great
really
movie.
hard.
I do, but like
they should.
Like
I am actually a little scared about how they're going to market Glass Onion. Now that we're looking at Netflix marketing, that is a big concern.
It's a huge concern. It's a huge one. Yeah,
but
they've never been good at marketing because they never really necessarily needed it. They have like a colossal user base of
but
users.
Here's the thing, though. But that was when they were the only like big competition in town. Now they have like Disney Plus, HBO Max. They have all these other streaming services, and they gotta like crack the whip on that, my dude. They were able to get lazier back then, but this is why Netflix needs to get its shit together. It has to, because again, they are the only streaming service making money. But I don't know.
Yeah, look at Disney Plus. Like they're marketing their stuff great.
They market their stuff great.
HBO do the same thing too.
Same HBO, and they actually got into the Nielsen ratings, which is a huge deal, by the way. That is huge.
And House of Dragon coming out next month. And
Anthony Cheeseman, Glass Onion sounds like a dark and gritty Shrek reboot.
It does sound like it. Yeah, it does.
All right, we're going to get into the last couple topics. One of them is the big Marvel one. So before that, though, it's kind of a precursor to that. It's the Kevin Feige interview with THR about the director situation.
Yeah.
So a couple highlights here real quick, because it's not too much. Destin Daniel Cretton, who helmed Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings, he's directing Avengers the King Dynasty. Super excited about that. I'm very happy about that. Bassam Tariq is directing Blade. Julius Ona is directing Captain America New World Order. And Jake Schreier is directing the villain team-up Thunderbolts. They're still looking for
a music director?
No. These are all like more indie directors.
Oh,
and-
Yeah, these are all pretty much indie directors.
Jake Shear did Paper Towns. He also did another movie.
yeah,
I think
that was actually pretty good. Actually, that
he's
had
a good, but he's most famous for his music videos,
yeah.
which are really good music videos.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
So
Thunderbolts should push the hard PG-13 rating.
we'll see. Anyway, RJ, continue on there. Then I'll be the one that goes first. Is that okay?
No.
I'm
No,
sorry.
thank you.
I'm kidding. They're still looking for a filmmaker for Fantastic Four. And he said this about it says, noting this will not be another origin story. A lot of people know the origin story of the Fantastic Four. A lot of people know the basics. How do we take that and bring something that the audience has never seen before?
You know,
we set a very high bar for ourselves of bringing this to the screen. Then they talked a little bit about Deadpool 3, basically
Sean
saying
Lee.
that they're going to try and take a big swing with this because it's the third film. How do we elevate it the way we've been able to with Civil War, Infinity War, and Ragnarok, said Feige. It's very fun to be in the world of the Ryan Reynolds show. And obviously D23 is coming up, and they're going to reveal a lot about that. So, any takeaways from this real quick? I mean, it's kind of like stuff we've been hearing the last couple of days, but like any takeaways?
Also, I also
You go first,
Joanna
Kevin.
Robinson on the Ringerverse. She said that they're down to 2 writers in mind for Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Who?
I don't know who the writers are. She said
Caden,
that they're
tell
down
me.
to-
Caden, tell me.
He doesn't know. Nobody
I
knows
will
who the
tell you.
writers
You
are.
know what? I'll tell you.
If I
I'll
had
tell
to
you.
guess-
I'll tell you.
I'm
Actually, I'll tell you.
joking. No,
I'll tell
no,
you.
no.
Steven Spielberg and Eric Martin.
You know what?
Imagine.
Actually, I think if I
What
had to
about
guess, I'd
Edgar
probably
Wright?
think Jack Schaefer or like maybe Eric Haber, because I think those two are probably those are like very like high profile writers for Marvel right now. Because again,
What about Edgar Wright?
dude, Edgar Wright has no interest, my dude. He is.
No,
That
he
is
has interest. He has interest. He has said that he still wants to work with Marvel.
I think he's gonna. I think, am I honest? I think he's gonna do an X-Men movie. I think that's what he's waiting on.
Yeah, I think
I
Edgar
think
Wright.
he's gonna
He
do
says
X-Men.
he's willing to work with Marvel.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was
Well,
just
if that's the case there. That's cool there. From what I've heard about the Fantastic Four, I do hear that they got a big name director for it. I don't think it's Spielberg, but it is somebody big. If I had to guess,
The Daniels.
No. I actually think it would be somebody like maybe Robert Zemeckis or something like that. Something like that. That would be huge.
John Krasinski, the Daniels.
John
Bryce
Krasinski is
Dallas
probably a
Howard.
big one. I would probably bet money on that one because again, dude, there was actually this clip where John Krasinski was like talking to like Jimmy Fallon. He said
Oh, he spilled the beans. Yeah.
yeah, he literally just like nearly spilled the beans there. So again,
I mean, did he though? Really? I mean, I don't think he really said anything. Or he's just kind of like, I can't talk.
Personally, I don't think he's coming back. I think they're gonna.
He said the Marvel line of "They haven't reached out to me yet." Basically, that's the meat.
Yeah,
that's
'cause
the,
that's
everyone knows, and like at least when you do like press stuff for like interviews, you say they haven't reached out to me yet, and he
Yeah.
said that exact Marvel line. He said he pulled the Andrew Garfield thing.
Yep.
And
He also dodged
like-
the question of his wife being
Yeah.
Sue Storm.
Yeah.
So which
But
is
like
weird.
I don't think
have
that
a feeling they're gonna be
because he said this. He said I played the villain version, and now I'm gonna I don't know.
Now that's where he did slip that up. He
Yeah.
also dodged the question of his wife becoming Sue
Yeah.
Storm. So that's very weird. That's like okay. I mean, you could have said something about your wife. It's like, no, my wife is not doing it. She's very busy. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, I think that there's an exciting future on the horizon, but that kind of leads us to like the main thing I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about today, and that's kind of like the cost of all of this stuff, right? So we heard about this subreddit thing going around where VFX artists were talking about working for Marvel, and then this Vulture article came out,
Yep.
and this I thought was really bad. I mean, this was like really bad. So I'm gonna read this, and then I want kind of Devin to kind of take over this because I got a couple questions for him. Because Devin, you did a video about this, and you gave your thoughts, and I'd like you to just kind of like go over kind of like the TLDR of what you said, and kind of talk to us a little bit about what crunch culture actually is, and like kind of like your overall overview of this. So just real quick, I'm gonna read this. It says, "I'm a VFX artist, and I'm tired of getting pixel effed by Marvel.
It's pretty well known and even darkly joked about across all the visual effects houses that working on Marvel shows is really hard. When I worked on one movie, it was almost 6 months of overtime every day. I was working 7 days a week, averaging 64 hours a week on a good week. Marvel generally works you really hard. I've had coworkers sit next to me, break down, start crying. I've had people having anxiety attacks on the phone. The studio has a lot of power over the effects house just because it has so many blockbuster movies coming out one after the other. If you upset Marvel in any way, there's a very high chance you're not going to get those projects in the future. So the effects houses are trying to bend over backwards to keep Marvel happy. To get work, the houses bid on the project. They're all trying to come in right under one another's bids. For Marvel, the bids will typically come in quite a bit under, and Marvel is happy with that relationship because it saves it money. But what ends up happening is that all of Marvel's projects tend to be understaffed. Where I would usually have a team of 10 VFX artists on a non-Marvel movie, on one Marvel movie, I got 2, including myself. So every person is doing far more work than they need to. The other thing with Marvel is it's famous for asking for lots of changes throughout the process. So you're already overworked, but then Marvel's asking for regular changes in excess of what any other client does. And some of those changes are really major. Maybe a month or two before the movie comes out, Marvel will have us change the entire third act. It has some really tight turnaround times. So yeah, it's just not a great situation all around. One visual effects house could not finish the number of shots and reshoots Marvel was asking for in time, so Marvel had to give my studio the work. Ever since, that house has effectively been blacklisted from ever getting Marvel work.
Okay, I wouldn't, because when you're blacklisted in the street, that means no one's working with you.
Yeah.
So that's the wrong word to choose. The right word to choose is to never work with Marvel again.
Well, I
So-
mean, blacklisted can be narrowed down to just a company. A company can totally blacklist another company from working with them. So I mean, I don't think that's a wrong word. I think that the inference is that people got from reading it was
Right.
erroneous.
Well, then, yeah. I think that's because I think people only tend to know blacklisted as a industry wide.
Usually
So
when it
I
comes up
think
in the context of one of these articles, it's more industry wide rather than
Yeah, so I think they should have used the right rather than using blacklisted because inference and people thought it was everyone's not working with it anymore. You
Yeah.
know? So it should be we're never working with Marvel again.
Oh, everybody was angry about that line yesterday.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah, so just to finish this up, part of the problem comes from the MCU itself. It's the sheer number of movies it has. It sets dates, and it's very inflexible in those dates. Yeah, it's quite willing to do reshoots and big changes very close to the dates without shifting them up or down. This is not a new dynamic. I remember going to a presentation by one of the other VFX houses about an early MC movie, and people were talking about how they were getting pixel left. That's a term we use in the industry where the client will nitpick over every little pixel. Even if you never notice it, a client might say, "This is not exactly what I want." You keep working at it, but they have no idea what they want. So they'll be like, "Can we just try this? Can you just try that?" They'll want you to change an entire setting, an entire environment, pretty late in a movie. The main problem is most of Marvel's directors aren't familiar with working with visual effects. A lot of them have just done little indies at the Sundance Film Festival and have never worked with VFX. They don't know how to visualize something that's not there yet, and that's not on set with them. So Marvel often starts asking for what we call final renders. As we're working through a movie, we'll send work in progress images that are not pretty, but show where we're at. Marvel often asks them to be delivered at a much higher quality very early on, and that takes a lot of time. Marvel does that because directors don't know how to look at the rough images early on and make judgment calls. But that is the way the industry has to work. You can't show something super pretty when the basics are still being fleshed out. The other issue is when we're in post-production, we don't have a director of photography involved, so we're coming up with the shots a lot of the time. It causes a lot of incongruity. A good example of what happens in these scenarios is the battle scene at the end of Black Panther. The physics are completely off. Suddenly the characters are jumping around, doing all these crazy moves like action figures in space. Suddenly the camera is doing these motions that haven't happened in the rest of the movie. It all looks a bit cartoony. It's broken the visual language of the film. Things need to change on two ends of the spectrum. Marvel needs to train its directors on working visual effects and have a better vision out of the gate. The studio needs to hold its directors' feet to the fire more to commit to what they want. The other thing is unionization, which we'll get to in a second. There's a growing movement to do that because it would help make sure that the VFX houses can take bids without having to consider what the impacts would be. Because a lot of the time, it's like you get to work on a Marvel show and to work on that for cheaper just because it's cool. Some of the problems I mentioned are universal to every show and every project, but you end up doing less overtime on other shows.
Yeah.
You end up being able to push back more on the directors. When they say something like, "Hey, I want this," you could be like, "This doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
Not every client has the bullying power of Marvel.
Wait, so they like working on Marvel shows than movies?
Yeah. It's more. So the show basically means like both the movies and the show there. So Devin,
It's basically universal, yeah. But so
yeah, hey Devin, I'm gonna let you talk first, and then I'm gonna drop something as well after that. So Devin, can you talk about your part here?
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna get to. Like,
Oh.
what was your
Also, I have a
takeaway?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before Dan talk, why hasn't Disney bought a visual effects house for Marvel yet?
Because they kind of
They have one for Lucas.
It's kind of a
Why
tricky.
not?
It's kind of a tricky thing there because again, it's all about like I don't know. It's kind of in the weeds there. But yeah, how about we get to Devin first because again he has like a lot of stuff to say.
Yeah, no, that's why I had Devin come on because you made a great video, man. I just wanted to give you props for that because I thought your video was excellent. So
Thank
kind of
you.
just go over like your take on this situation because you work in the video game industry or you used to work in the video game industry, and there's something there called crunch culture.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of just explain what crunch culture is to everybody who's not aware, just kind of give your overall takes on what this article and there's any comparisons you can make between the two industries.
Yeah, so like the biggest contributor to a lot of this, a lot of crunch culture that happens across both of these industries is the fact that these are highly sought after jobs. Like people who want to either program games or make VFX for games or movies, they want to work with companies like Marvel. They want that prestige, they want that shine, they want to be on the cutting edge of tech and on entertainment and do cool shit. Like that was one of the things that a lot of my coworkers at a lot of my companies I used to work at used to say all the time. Like whenever we got discouraged by something, we just like, man, we just want to make cool shit. That's all we want to do, you know. And there's like a whole host of people that are just waiting to get those jobs coming out of college or self-taught high school and all that sort of stuff. So when you have all of that behind you, that puts a lot of power into the hands of the people that run these businesses to basically grind the living hell out of your workers, push them to the very bottom as far as what wages are concerned, so that your margins for profits are as maximized as possible. And then you get these situations like crunch happens because of bad planning and scheduling on the part of producers, project managers, and people who make those executive decisions. So in this article, what he's talking about, the race to the bottom as far as like these companies that like try to undercut each other with lower and lower bids for Disney and Marvel. What he's talking about is, okay, at the end of the day, you're going to end up getting paid pennies to do a shit ton of work because that was the promise that got you that job. And once you commit to that promise to get that job, then you're on the hook for, okay, we need all of this done by this amount of time. Get to it. Don't care how you have to do it. You just have to do it. So then that's when crunch comes in. That's when you start burning out super early on the process because you've got this entire wall of shit that you need to do. And you've got a guy cracking a whip on your back to do it. So yeah, you get burnt out super, super quickly. And I was talking, I think Sean O'Rourke was commenting on my video, and he was making comparisons to like other people in the film industry who also do, copious amounts of work, but maybe more physical work like grips or lighting tech, all that sort of
Definitely.
stuff. And it's like,
those are more unionized.
Yeah, exactly. Like they have more union protections. That's the thing. And like we both came to the consensus that unions need to happen for VFX, the VFX industry. Until then, you're constantly going to have this situation. It's going to get worse and worse because
you think it will happen?
Well, let me ask you. Real quick, I want to ask Devin.
Unionization will happen. I mean, I think it's probably more inevitable now than it had been in the past.
Yeah, because I did a little bit of research and I kind of looked into IATSE has a VFX union, but
it's not that good though.
I haven't heard much. I mean, I found their website and they kind of like talk about who they are, why unionize. Like this is IATSE. This is the remember the IATSE strike?
Yeah, it's a big union. It's the big. You have IATSE, then you have SAG, you have DGA. All these unions for people who work in the industry.
So
and IATSE is more.
That was actually mostly all set up after the Alec Baldwin thing, also. So that because again, Netflix is notorious for not using union sets though.
Yeah, and a lot of VFX houses aren't unionized. I mean, a lot of them, just
it's also it's
and it goes over the history of some of the stuff that they've helped win over on. So I mean, there is like.
It's
somewhat
also
of a union for VFX workers, so maybe there should be more.
I think it's union and communication. Union and communication on all levels, because there needs to be communication between Marvel and the vendor, and then the house that the vendor gets, and then there's also needs to be communication between the vendor and the house, to be like, hey, like, there also needs to be also communication from Disney, from Marvel, approving shots and visual effect shots on time, because it's also where they would get like loads of shots and just not approve some of them, but they'll like have like 200 shots they're trying to approve, but they only approve 50 of them, and they give 150 of those shots to the house, back to the vendor, and then the vendor gives it back to the house, which then now the house has an additional 150 shots to redo, and so like it's.
Well, that's why I want to ask Devin about real quick. I mean, who do you really place the blame on this on? Is it more so the VFX houses who get the contract from Marvel, or is it Marvel themselves?
Honestly, I could actually answer that. I think it's a little bit of both there, because I do think the Marvel accepting the lower bids is a big issue, but I also think it's the vendors also like sort of like doing promises that they can't keep there. And again, I'll let Devin speak first because I got.
I know, because
I'm sorry to steal your thunder, Devin.
No, you're good. You're good. If you have something to say it. I don't care.
Yeah. I'll talk to you.
But I mean, yeah, it's kind of it's kind of both, but it's also as shitty as it might be, it's also kind of the fans' fault, because we're the ones that are shoveling out money and our time and viewership all like as soon as these things drop, like we devour this shit.
Yeah.
So
we literally want more all the time, and it's sort of like, guys, you can't have both things all at once there, and I think that is a big issue there. And again, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you.
No, you're good. I mean, there's a reason why Kevin Feige got up on that Comic-Con stage with like 700, new shows coming out in the future.
But listen, it's all exciting though, and I can't wait for all of it. I'm sure it's all gonna be
exactly.
I think Daredevil should be practical. Should not have
it would be cool if they could do that. Like if they could like make. If they could like plan ahead more practical effects based
productions,
shows, then that would take.
Well, the other issue seems to be higher.
It isn't just Marvel. Marvel's taken a lot of heat. They're the ones that are churning out.
It's an industry-wide situation.
Yeah,
but it is industry-wide.
Yeah, I think the reason why they hit Marvel is because Marvel is the big boy that you want to hit, so then you get everyone's attention.
It's probably also the largest contract because of just the sheer amount of projects they have.
Yeah, like there was an article that said that there were 12 different VFX houses that worked on Infinity War. And a part of Marvel, and I talked about this in my video, part of Marvel's production process is they basically make the movie twice, because they do a ton of previs, which is a pre-visualization. They create the movie and all the shots that they want to see and the action sequences and even some of the more emotional sequences. They create all of that first in pre-production in 3D. So they use these same VFX houses to do that work too. I think they have some internal to Marvel.
They actually do have some internal stuff there, and if I may there. And again, there is some like misconception that is done before the director is gone. That's actually not true. That's actually not true at all. You see, there's this like video about how the Endgame happened, and say, oh, this was done in 2016 before the Russo brothers thing. But the thing is, actually, the Russos came on in 2015. So all the previous stuff was with the Russos and all the stuff. So that's kind of a misconception there. It's like, no,
we'll do that for Secret Wars.
The directors do have like a hand. Okay, don't worry about that now, like Anthony. We're in a serious topic here, but Anyway, Devin, continue, please.
Oh no! I was just saying, like, whether the director is involved or not, it's still an amount of work that needs to be done for a VFX heavy movie. And to JP's point in the chat, previs is normal for a movie that has VFX. You're absolutely right, but to the degree that previs is done for any other normal movie prior to the MCU's meteoric rise, it was minuscule. They would have their action beats. They would have their big set pieces that they knew was going to have, a lot of components to it, and they would do previs for that, and then just shoot the rest of the movie, as you would normally shoot a movie. But with Marvel, they previs everything, so like that's a heavy footprint. That's a heavy footprint.
Yeah. That's why they have like a lot of their stuff there. And again, it's I don't know.
Well, yeah, actually, and Donovan, thank you for bringing that up. I don't know if you heard about the Guardians 3 trailer, but James Gunn said, hey,
Yeah.
you know what? The VFX is just like, we want to wait to show this until we know that it looks 100%
Yeah.
ready. That's
And
kind of the other
actually,
thing, too.
I know
like,
people at Marvel are actually having a meeting about this right now. Actually, like a lot of the Marvel employees, even Kevin,
which is
Feige,
good. They should be
thrilled
trying to
about
figure this out. They should be
because the thing
looking
about
to
Marvel is that
fix
they
the situation.
they usually do iron out the problems pretty quickly. And again,
They
and also,
do.
here's something else you got to keep in mind here about Marvel. A lot of this stuff was also under like the Ike Perlmutter like regime as well. Because again, Ike
Right, but
Perlmutter.
the fact that it's gone on for so long, though, is
Oh
a
yeah,
problem.
definitely. No. I'm not excusing them at all. But yeah, and also I think it's gotten a lot worse with the Chapek thing because like everything is like more and more stuff there. And again, it's all of this like factory stuff there. So it's just it's like this like excess of stuff that's got to work in there. And I think honestly, this article coming out is actually probably gonna like really like sort of like balance thing out there because again, I do think this article is gonna like really grow some more like better communication, better training there. And I do think Marvel is going to start investing in sort of training its directors to work with VFX artists a lot more. I really do think that because again, I've spoken to a couple of people that work at STU and they are very much aware of this and they do want to fix it. And I do think they should invest in that. Again, whether they do or not, I that's up to them. But again, I do.
Well, that was the other thing I want to get into a little bit too. Yeah. Is this kind of like the cost of hiring such inexperienced directors, right? Yeah. Because Marvel, and let's be fair, it is kind of a formula. They tend to hire indie filmmakers instead of these well-established directors because one, they're cheaper. Yeah. Two, they're more easily controllable. I don't know what the right word for it is. It's more so like
it's just that
they know how to work within the parameters of what they're asking them to do.
Yeah. Also, you also have to realize where because if you look at
Hayden finish, okay.
If you look at where Feige started, and where he has ended up, and what Donner has taught him. Donner before Superman, he was an indie filmmaker. Like considered then, an indie filmmaker.
Wait, who?
Because a lot of people during that time were considered indie filmmakers that you would consider today. Donner was one of the biggest ones. So he started working with indie filmmakers, so he knows their language. He also knows the language of the industry and also knows the language of Marvel Comics. So when you mix those together, you honestly would get something like this. You would get someone who's hiring a lot of indie filmmakers. You also are getting someone who also hires a lot of people who have 2 or 3 at the most big blockbusters under their belt, because you started off with one of them, Jon Favreau, who had one of his biggest movies is Elf.
Actually, he did Zathura, so he's also done a couple of like big blockbuster things before that. Also, he also a great example is the thing about like the Phase 1 Marvel directors that I wouldn't call them indie directors because Kenneth Branagh was not an indie director. He was like a big theater director, and also the only one that was a indie director would probably be like the Incredible Hulk director.
And Chloe Zhao.
Even Joss Whedon is not an indie director. Also, he's worked at VFX stuff before.
Wait, who's Joss Whedon?
Those movies came out before the MCU process was really like finalized. Was really like those were more like movies.
If I were to pinpoint where this would be a big issue, it's probably with directors like honestly Peyton Reed, John Watts, probably Kate Shortland, Chloe Zhao. I don't think Ryan Coogler had that issue. Neither did James Gunn. But I do see that even Anderson Creedon would have that problem too.
With Phase 1, he had to gain credibility with the industry on his own. That's why you had all those prestige directors part of it who had he also gets TV people as well too.
TV guys also, and again,
so that's where you get the origin of Joss Whedon. He was mostly known in the TV era of stuff because of course he had Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Firefly.
And so just to kind of like get Devin's thoughts on some more liberty. So like Devin, would you say like the biggest
solution to this would be more so trying to unionize. Do you think unions would really help the situation the most in terms of like getting a resolution to this situation?
I mean, unions will definitely help the VFX workers have a little bit more power as far as like, how much gets put on their plate, how much they get compensated for it too. Like a lot of what I was getting from, and it's not just this. The thing is, like this issue with the VFX artists in Hollywood, it wasn't just
a tough time, dude.
It's been happening. We've been having write-ups in these websites and Reddit posts and whatnot for a while now. Like it's been bubbling up, and it really just came to a head because this puts the spotlight on like the biggest filmmaker in town. So
The biggest film production company, yeah.
yeah. So
And again,
I think that the unionization thing will help take some of help the compensation for the VFX artists for sure, but it isn't going to get rid of this problem. Like it's not like they're going to become unions and then all of a sudden life is peachy. It's still going to be a heavy slog for them to get through the kind of work that they're getting through because the demand is just too intense right now.
Yeah, and again, that is unfortunately a thing about the film industry. And again, as somebody that's like kind of witnessed it a lot there, knows people at this studio. Again, like even and again, I've known people that have had pretty positive experience working at Marvel have similar issues with the VFX artists. The two complaints that I hear about Marvel are the comic creator stuff, which is pretty much with the Ike Perlmutter stuff, and the VFX stuff, which is more of the Kevin Feige stuff. But again, it's more so about like who you work with there, but I wouldn't necessarily call them like evil or anything like that. But I would hold them accountable for some of the stuff there. And I do think this article is going to very much like help like sort of soften the blow a little bit and sort of like help create solutions for this. I really do think this article will blossom more discussions and more stuff with the studio, because again, Marvel doesn't like bad press. Like again, they hate bad press. They usually like to get stuff done, because every time a comic book creator comes out, they usually get compensated afterwards. That's what I've heard mostly from that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they listen to this negative press, because this
they
VFX controversy has become a big issue, in the hopes
they
that
definitely are, my dude.
moving forward they need to resolve this.
And it might
because
be
I think the product is showing a little bit, because like look at Thor: Love and Thunder. I enjoyed that movie, but there's like some really wonky VFX and a lot of stuff lately.
I also think
Taika
Waititi was kind of half-assed.
Also remember No Way Home, because No Way Home visual effects wasn't finished until a week after the movie came out. And also, but
I mean, it was like that with Stranger Things too. So
it was also with that Stranger Things too as well. Like
around the industry.
Yeah, it's an industry-wide situation where the visual effects department is probably the most, not neglected, but like the most like put off to the side, even though it's the most important. One of the most important sides of the production.
A real famous thing in like filmmaking, a real famous saying is like, "We'll fix it in post." Right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Any kind of mistake or fuck up or something you missed or whatever that happens in principal filming, you'll just fix it in post. And the advent of VFX,
snot bubble, the snot bubble in every shot. We'll fix it in post.
That probably
only amplified that.
Increased more during COVID as well, even more, because again, there were so many like production issues there with like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Those were like a slog to get through. And again, I'm like shocked that both those movies turned out as well as they did. Like Thor and Thunder, like I liked it, but honestly, I think that one was.
It only cost $250 because of the fucking volume. I don't. That's the reason.
Yeah.
That movie.
Well, Devin, real quick, this actually ties in a little bit too. How are you feeling about the She-Hulk show in regards to the visual effects? Because that's been like kind of like bubbling up in controversy as well in connection to this whole article too. People
and that kind of. It kind of sucks that like there's so much conversation, and I know Taika Waititi got shit for the video he did where he asked if that
Vanity Fair video,
which I cut him slack on that, because he was really what he was talking about in that video. He was really kind of bagging on himself and his inability to set up that shot properly for the VFX.
It was honestly not that bad. Just
it really wasn't that bad.
No, if you really watch the video in all context, he was really like, I messed up.
Yeah, he used the wrong shot for what's her name?
Yeah, Dave the Film Junkie was having a field day with that, and man, I don't know about you, Dave's kind of.
Everyone was having a field day on on film Twitter. Like everyone was
But
like,
who
"Oh, look how
cares
Taika
about film
Waititi is
Twitter? These are just a
disrespecting
bunch of
visual
like
effects
14-year-old
artists."
just anime avatars. Who gives a shit about them?
And
They
like the
don't
thing
really mean
is
anything.
as someone said it best. I think someone's like, "I don't have MCU fatigue. I have MCU Twitter fatigue."
That
Or
is
like I have
definitely
film
true.
Twitter fatigue. I have Twitter fatigue. It's Twitter that is making it seem like there's MCU
Well, yeah, I mean,
fatigue,
Twitter's
but
just
it's really
And that's what
yeah.
bums me out about the She-Hulk thing is because it sucked that they put out that trailer without having like really
Finished
final
visual
version
effects,
effects.
yeah.
Finalized
And you want to
visuals.
know the funny thing about She-Hulk? I've heard the show, and that show was like, and that show did kind of go through a couple of like things there. But honestly, from what I've heard, the show kind of works. Like it does.
It looks like a lot of fun from a
No,
writing perspective. It looks great.
They perfected the thing that WandaVision didn't do, which WandaVision had like the mystery box thing, but She-Hulk doesn't have that. It's honestly paced way better than most of the other.
Well, yeah,
Disney
well, what I'm saying,
stuff.
what I'm trying to get at though is
Yeah,
like from a writing
yeah.
perspective,
And
that show
also-
seems really strong. But
Yeah,
it's just
and
like no
also
one's paying
what's
attention to
odd
that because
about
of the visual effects.
Yeah, what's odd about the visual effects, correct me if I'm wrong, Devin, but I usually, when you do trailers, you usually have the shots that you want in the trailer to be 100% done, or at least finished to the point where you can at least be happy with it and approved and to be released for marketing. And so it seems like it's still in a work in progress, although like usually with trailers you try to get everything done. So
The funny thing is, like most, I'll say this from the game industry side of it, is like when you know you've got a trailer to cut, like you focus a lot on the elements that going to be showcased on that trailer. So, and that's kind of the funny. It kind of ties in a little bit with what I speculate is happening with the KOTOR remake, because if you're familiar with that story,
I'm so sad about that.
Well, the article in Bloomberg talked about how like they had their vertical slice for the game that they exhibited to the executives at Lucasfilm and all that, and everybody said it looked great. But like a vertical slice isn't like the finalized game. It's basically a glorified proof of concept, and my speculation is that they had that milestone in mind that they were working towards the vertical slice, and they put all of their eggs in making that look awesome so that they can get approval to move on to the rest of the game. But it turned out that like the way that they were developing towards that vertical slice probably doesn't scale. They probably had some labor issues. I don't know if they like don't have the manpower. Whatever the case may be, they did whatever they needed to do to get that vertical slice looking peachy, and then everything just fell apart after that. Like, I don't know what Marvel's method is for cutting those trailers together. I doubt it's in a similar capacity as how gaming is.
Yeah.
Actually, I do kind of have a way of it. So the way it was described to me is that they kind of have two different versions of a scene that they're working on simultaneously with one another, and they see which one is like the best for that one. Then by the end, they kind of mix both shots together to get the best of both worlds there. That's what I kind of heard from it again.
Yeah, what the She-Hulk thing is like, people say, "Oh, why didn't get a stronger female got a girl a better like paint
the thing is though, Jennifer,
shut up with that, man." Shit.
That's another thing. Also, is
I hope I'm not
That's
coming off as
hatred.
an MCU shill. I really hope I'm not coming off as that. It's if
Well,
I
we're
am,
all
I'm deeply
everybody.
sorry.
So don't worry about it. It's okay.
yeah, no.
So what?
Also,
I
but
don't want
the
to
thing
get
is
yelled at by
Jennifer
Dave the Film
Walters
Junkie.
is-
I really don't.
Jennifer Walters in the comics before she became She-Hulk was a short and skinny person, and then when she became She-Hulk, she was 6'7", but with like not as much muscle, but still with the same strength power as the Hulk. Like so that's the thing. So even more strength power than the Hulk because she accepts who she is as in her She-Hulk form. Another thing people to realize is also in that trailer and in continuity of that series is that Professor Hulk is not as strong as Hulk. Like, so of course he's not going to throw the boulder as far as the normal Hulk would, nor as She-Hulk would. If you were to rank the personalities of them, you would have Hulk, She-Hulk, and then
Hey, RJ.
Professor Hulk. So that's
Yeah,
the
and
Hey RJ, if I may, there's actually a Twitter thread from Ashley Lynch, the person with the red hair. She's a VFX artist. You know her?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yes, she got
Yeah,
a lot
did
of
you see?
pushback on
Well, I
it.
want you to pull that up there because she does actually make somewhat of an interesting point there within that.
She makes an interesting point, but she also got kind of
She got
lambasted
destroyed
a little
over it, and
bit.
I think she could have like phrased it a little bit better there. But
And plus, like with the She-Hulk things, like that's a new. With the Hulk, they always has the same visual effects model. Like they know how Hulk is gonna look. Like She-Hulk is like a new character, and I think the visual effects for She-Hulk will get better over time when it's in the MCU.
Another thing about
Yeah.
especially with MCU character designs, when you first do a character design you have,
Yep.
at least now you have a template, and now you're able to do the pre-viz stuff with that template. When She-Hulk is in a Daredevil series, they're able to use the She-Hulk series as a template of what she's supposed to look like. So when they do
Yep.
the scenes on set and also do the scenes in post, they can at least have a template of what she is, and pre as well. So
Yeah.
And
Oh,
like
real-
tells from the Hood TV says her eyes look off, and I just want to say that
what?
we aren't at the place yet where we have escaped the uncanny valley. So that's
That's
always
true.
going to be a thing with all of this,
especially when you make a human face.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Real
that's
quick,
inescapable.
we got a super chat from Blue Jay. Thank you for. I almost missed this. Thank you. Blue Jay 499 says, "I think they should scale back, go back to putting out 2 films a year, just so that more time is being taken to finish the VFX." Hashtag new deal for VFX.
I think that's probably the only solution that would make things actually better for VFX is if they space these releases out more.
And they're not going to do that because they want to crank out all these products. You know.
They want the 3 to 4 movies a year to 4 to 5 series a year.
But if the VFX industry ends up unionizing and they do some massive strike that puts all of these movies on a hiatus, they will have some capacity to iron out some kind of a contract between the VFX industry and Marvel and Disney.
I do think that will happen. I do think that
that might be the only actual solution for all of this. It would have to be something like that, because so long as you allow Marvel to create all of this content in like 1 year's time, where you're dropping 3 movies and like 4 or 5 TV shows or however many they do in a year's time, you're going to have a situation. And a part of this issue, like I mentioned earlier, there were 12 effects houses or whatnot working on Infinity War. Like, Marvel is a huge footprint in this industry. And if you don't want to work on a Marvel property at any of these houses, you're probably going to be shit out of luck, because every house is working on a Marvel property somewhere. So
there's
like,
not a single house that isn't working on Marvel.
Yeah, it's like an inescapable thing at this point for the workers.
Yeah. If I were to give out a blueprint of like what they'll probably do to scale back, I'm guessing they'd probably do like 2 movies and 2 shows. That's probably what they'd probably do, and that's more manageable.
The crazy thing is, they announced that Daredevil with 18 episodes. And like, again, as a fan, I'm like, yeah, we're going back to like.
Probably do gives a lot more.
I mean, if they are doing the thing that they're gonna do with more comic book accurate Daredevil, where he's leaping off of 15-story buildings, then it's not gonna be more practical than it's gonna be more practical than She-Hulk, but it's not gonna be more practical than WandaVision. It's gonna be the same like amount of stuff. Probably.
Also, why can't Marvel use the volume to film with that?
They're doing that with like Ant-Man.
Well, they are starting to use the volume.
They should use it for TV.
But you have to remember we have to remember that the volume does not make things easier or cheaper or better for VFX. It is a tool. It's a tool that the way it gets used is on an individual basis per film.
It just helps the actors on set to visualize what they're seeing, and what's the thing is, it's great technology that I think the more and more people use it, I think is great. But at the same time, I think the environments that they create with these become less diverse now, because you're having everyone use it, and everyone's using the same.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask too. Do you guys feel like maybe going forward, Marvel should start to try and hire more experienced directors?
And they actually are doing that, though. They actually are.
No, I'm not saying that they're not. I mean, they've been hired.
I think they should, and they will, though. I mean, because I think
Who was
Feige
supposed to
realized.
direct that before Sam Raimi, though?
Scott Derrickson.
Scott Derrickson.
There's actually been
but
a ton of
like,
them, actually. Like I would say Kenneth Branagh was a pretty experienced director.
yeah,
I'm saying
but
like
that's
right.
phase
I'm saying like
one.
right
That's,
now though.
but
Like,
once
Well,
they
done.
got to
Phase
phase
one, though.
three, when
I
they
would
got
say
to phase
honestly,
three,
like some of the
they had
veteran
more.
directors.
When they got phase three, they had more credibility under them, and they also knew how to work with directors. And then they're like, oh, let's also hire some of these indie directors. And then phase 3 and 4 were filled with them.
Actually, and I think another good example is actually the first couple of like TV directors also there. Hawkeye was like under like some like
Bert and Birdie
like,
and
Disney Plus shows were like through like directors that had actually like done VFX work and stuff like that. Like
the Disney Plus shows are
Carl Strokeland.
the Disney Plus shows are all written and directed by TV people and some movie people. But the thing is,
well, they don't really have conventional showrunners. Like Marvel, Marvel doesn't really like.
They're not conventional at
Marvel
all.
doesn't really like directors. It seems like not, or at least not directors that have a whole lot of sway or power. Like
they don't. I think they don't want someone to, because when you're a showrunner, you have majority of the creativity, and I think when you're named showrunner, people are expecting, and you also have high expectations of having full control of the show.
Too. The MCU.
I mean, that's how directors are too.
Right.
And that's why they get
the
indie directors.
The MCU as a whole is one giant television series with Kevin Feige being the showrunner. That's kind of the format too. It's a very unconventional. It's a very unconventional way of a franchise operating.
If I were to describe the way the TV shows are operated, it's more there's not really a showrunner, but there's more of sort of like a collaboration between both the director and the head writer, kind of both the showrunner together, and they kind of like work together in that thing. It's more.
They split the showrunner.
They kind of split that together.
Responsibilities as head director and head writer, and Kevin Feige, and also Brad
I wouldn't say
Winnebaum as
Kevin
like.
Feige, some of his other producers there. But
Brad Winnebaum, Nick Moore.
Leeway than like most people again, because again, Moon Knight had a lot of creative leeway. That show was where you can have like a bunch of Easter eggs, but the creator said no, I don't think that's a good idea, and they agreed with that, so they kind of got rid of that. So I wouldn't say they hate directors; they are pretty collaborative from what I've heard. Because again, even people that haven't had good experiences at Marvel, I've heard have said, okay, Kevin Feige, like he is pretty collaborative with people when he can be, and he always likes to meet halfway when it comes to like above the line talent. Because again, he is very because I think that Edgar Wright thing really rubbed him the wrong way. And I do see that, and I do see that coming there. Again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. There have been some miscalculations. Chloe Zhao being one of them. But I do think they are getting better with talent relationship. A lot better. Like again, we're getting Sean Levy, who did the Adam Project, Free Guy. That's a pretty big name director. And again, you are going to get a big director with Fantastic Four, and fucking Dan Creedon, who is like a rock star. He did a great job with Shang-Chi, and he's now like sort of like getting more keys to the kingdom. He's doing a fucking Wonder Man show. So they do like value talent under the thing there. Yeah. They do. And also Ryan Coogler also.
As Kane just mentioned, Justin Daniel Cretton also signed a contract with Marvel. So he's
big one. Like he Onyx Collection and Marvel was Daniel Cretton, and also Ryan Coogler signed an overall deal with Disney. And Ryan Reynolds signed the biggest deal in like entertainment history with Disney overall as well. Right? Yeah. Like in all Hollywood history, like one of the biggest ones. Like
more than Robert.
You know, it's actually
more than Robert Downey Jr. because Robert Downey Jr. was only held down to Marvel, while Ryan is all of Disney. Like he can work with Lucasfilm, he can work with like Walt Disney.
It's like all divisions.
All of Disney.
That would be
like,
crazy to see him in Star Wars. Oh, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
If I may, if I want to add a little more to the Marvel creative thing there, from what I've heard, again, they are still trying to get more creator stuff there, and Kevin Feige is starting to become more hands off there, and I think that is a good sign there. He still has some notes here and there, but he's more hands off than he was in the previous phases. So that's why you're getting more variety of products there. That's why Doctor Strange 2 felt more Sam Raimi than something with Ryan Coogler, the first Black Panther. And that's why Black Panther feels a lot more like Ryan Coogler, because again, he's trusting his directors a lot more. And I think that's a good sign. I think that is a good thing.
I think he's trusting their process a lot more. They're standing out in a way where he has no choice but to let the directors kind of run the show.
I mean, if you look at Ryan
and
Coogler,
all of these,
he written a 1,500-page Bible for the history of Wakanda, and then also another 10,000-page like thing for all of Wakanda and Black Panther 2, like the whole story that he wants to tell for like his side of the universe of MCU, with of course so, and then I'm sure like him being creatively involved with Ironheart probably is added into there as well. So it's like
and the Wakanda, and he's doing the Wakanda series
which
too.
is Midnight Angels and
here's another director that they're actually heavily investing in. You know the guys that did Moon Knight, not Muhammad Did. He's actually doing something else. But
Benson and Moorhead.
No, not Jeremy Slater. The other two.
Benson and Moorhead, who are doing Loki.
They have a lot of projects in Marvel, not just beyond.
Yeah, Loki season 2,
That
and
one-
also
that
a writer from Moon Knight. Well, no, a producer
doing
from Moon
Nova?
Knight is writing the Nova project.
Yep.
Also, you have Eric Martin, who was a season 1 writer, who's writing majority of season 2, and he's possibly even writing Kang Dynasty. So it's like they're giving so it's like a lot of people who've worked with Marvel are growing in Marvel while also adding to the family bare minimum with little people here and there.
They have so many pieces moving at once right now.
Yeah,
they have so
they
many
do.
pieces. It's no small wonder that they put so much on like previs for all of this stuff, because they're in a situation now where they have to. Like there's just
Kevin
too
Feige
much
plans
going
10
on.
years at one retreat, he plans the 5 years at that retreat, and he's like, let's talk about the next 5 years next week at the meeting, and it's like whoa, because if you he's planned this whole saga before Endgame was put out, so it's like
and also, I will say this much: Kevin Feige's nearly quit Marvel 3 times during the last 3 years because of Chapek. Chapek has been.
Chapek sucks.
He's been really
he's
bad.
fucking terrible.
The only one place where they haven't been bad is honestly Lucasfilm, which is surprising because the Mandalorian. But even
don't
that,
worry, it'll come for Lucasfilm too.
yeah, but
eventually.
even that. But oh my god, dude, it's. I kind of worry that he's gonna probably jump over to DC and leave Marvel for shit. It's like, hey, fuck you, Chapek.
Honestly, if it ever came to the point where they had to make a decision, Chapek or Feige, Chapek would be gone because nobody really likes him anyways.
He's able to keep
and the shareholders want him out. So
but here's something else though. But then again, you also had the Peter Rice thing, which is a huge fucking deal because everybody at Disney loved Peter Rice. And guess what? Chapek just fucking kicked him out immediately.
Because the reason why he saw
that was
Peter
a Bob
Rice
Iger guy, right?
Yeah.
But he saw Peter Rice as competition.
Yeah, which I found kind of stupid because again, there was no way he was going to be able to run Disney because
Peter Rice is a full-on TV person.
Yeah.
So that was really odd.
Great job with the company.
I just want to say, kind of giving a little bit of a warning, we're gonna start winding the show down. I want to thank everyone for coming on and talking. This has been a really awesome conversation, kind of really diving deep into a lot of issues in the VFX industry. This is just kind of the surface. I recommend everybody go read that Vulture article for yourself. There's another article from Screen Rant, I believe, too, and I'm going to put the link in here right now. Everyone go check out Devin's video. It's a really good video. I think he did a great job.
Fantastic video, by the way, Devin.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So before we wrap up, though, I'm going to go around the horn real quick. Everyone give their last thoughts and promote your stuff. Kino, we'll start with you. Your final thoughts on this topic and promote anything you want to promote.
Okay, I will say, I'm going to repeat myself again. This does look bad, but I do think a lot of stuff's going to come out of this. Again, Marvel is listening to this. They are definitely seeing this. Like, oh, shit, we got to fix this. And again, they usually do fix their stuff pretty quickly. And I do think there will be a lot better coordination there. And again, the thing that I love about this article is that it actually has a way to sort of fix this stuff, getting better trained VFX stuff. And if you want, it's not about getting inexperienced directors, it's just training those inexperienced directors to look at VFX people. And I think that's honestly something Marvel should do a lot better at. And I think they can do that. I think that's a pretty thing. I think it's something they can do on their part. Because again, we should be championing them to get interesting filmmakers. We don't want the same big name people over and over and over again. We want to grow interesting characters there. But I think Marvel needs to have a better process of getting those types of new interesting directors to get into the VFX thing. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, I think there's got to be a halfway point. And also maybe shaving down a couple of projects. Like nobody wants the Echo show. I'm sorry, that show.
No, the show sounds really good.
I'm
honestly.
really looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it.
You're wrong.
So that Echo show is going to be 10 episodes. It's going to be filled with
It's a
everything.
6-episode
Daredevil,
show.
Kingpin. It's going to lead to the Daredevil show, which that should happen. Because Echo has a big tie-in history with
Hey, what's up,
Kingpin
Moose?
and Daredevil. That's going to be good. And plus, he's going to wear the red and black suit, which is.
I mean, it's the thing
Anthony-
about the Echo
well,
show. It
yeah,
may not be like something like absolutely out of the nowhere. Like it's very simple and it sounds really nice and simple and easy to get into.
Right. Anthony, your final thoughts on this topic? Anything you want to promote?
No, I would say I think that Marvel should listen to the VFX houses. I think they're probably having meetings about it because I think this make them look bad. I do agree. I think they should maybe do like two movies a year, maybe 3 shows, personally, to like let the VFX house do their work and stuff like that. Even if you want to change a scene, sure, whatever. I just think they should just do 2 or 3 movies a year and that'll be perfectly fine. And yeah, I hope they solve. I hope they solve very soon and with it. So yeah.
Caden, any final thoughts on this VFX thing and anything?
I think Marvel, and I think this is an industry-wide problem, but it's Marvel industry-wide, and also Marvel needs to work on communication. Vendors need to work on. I think everyone needs to work on communication in this industry, honestly. Where I think also
110%, Caden. People suck into communication in this industry. Absolutely.
And so it definitely is not 100% Marvel, but it's not also not on them either. It's like one of those things where it's like it's a Marvel problem, but it's also a universal problem to you. It's an industry-wide problem where it needs to be fixed. If the visual effects houses and vendors need to unionize, then go ahead, because I think that's what needs to happen in the long run. I think if it ends up where we're only going to get like 4 to 5 projects, including Marvel movies and shows together combined a year, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with 2 movies and 3 shows. I'm fine with 3 movies and 2 shows. Whatever the compromise is with this, I'm fine with, because at least we're getting content where everyone is able to survive off of and survive in the long run too. And so I think this is going to be fixed. Marvel tends to listen to the outcries. The industry tends to listen to this when this is made public in this type of way. They tend to listen. So I hope they do, and I hope it gets fixed, and I'm sure it will. Because there's great people they're great people that work in these industries, and they don't deserve to be in the office 24 hours a week or 64 hours a week, and to be working on something that they should be working on, something they should be proud of, and not something they should be tired of.
Amen to that, Caden. Amen to that.
Yeah. And finally, Devin, your final thoughts on this whole VFX thing, this topic, and anything you want to promote, you are more than welcome to do so.
Yeah. So I hope that it changes. Obviously, maybe I'm a little bit less optimistic than others in thinking that it will. Like they're probably. I agree that they're probably having meetings and trying to figure stuff out, but absent making like the dramatic changes that would need to be made to actually give these VFX artists a little bit more space, I don't really see a way forward that keeps their schedule looking the way that it does. Like they would have to pare back on their releases, and I don't see them making that compromise. Their shareholders would never allow it. So I don't quite know what direction this is going to take in the near term. Maybe you'll start hearing more signs about broader unionization. Maybe you'll hear some rumblings about wildcat strikes or anything like that. I don't know. The tech industry is notorious for being, and VFX I count as kind of adjacent to that, since it's a lot of software-based work. it's notorious for being hesitant to do that sort of thing. So we'll have to see what happens. I think that, and in talking on the topic of the directors and all of that, like one thing that I've always given Marvel a lot of credit for, like it's kind of like what we're seeing with all of this burnout on the VFX artists. That's kind of like the byproduct. That's like the carbon monoxide that's being shot out of the exhaust from this incredible machine that not only makes all of these movies and shows, but they do a pretty good job of shepherding in young, relatively unknown, relatively untested directors, and then guiding them through a mammoth process that on the back end has them building their filmography, building their resume. They get a Marvel production under their belt. They get experience running giant sets. They get experience working with VFX houses. They get experience doing all of this other stuff that directors of their stature generally don't get to do until they've been in the industry for like 20 years or so. But they have this apparatus, and it serves both ends. Like for these young directors, they get this opportunity to work on these high profile projects and build up their resume, build up their stature to the point where they can come out of this and be like, hey, I have these Marvel movies under my belt. I'm going to go to Lionsgate or somebody and see if I can make my passion project or whatever. It provides that vehicle for those directors, while at the same time it gives Marvel what they want, in that they get directors for these movies that they're just cranking out like sausage, that they can hold their hands through the process. Like they can hold both of their hands through the process and make sure that it goes smoothly. Make sure there's no Josh Trank situation going on.
Yeah.
Make sure that, okay, we know that when we get to this point in the process, when we hand this over to the VFX and post, that the directors aren't going to be as involved, and all of the work that we want to get this to look the way that we need it for the theater, we're going to have our producers and whatnot working with the VFX guys on that. And that's going to be out of the visual talent's hands. And there's a lot of consternation about that. That article mentioned how, that particular VFX artist wants directors to be more involved in that process. But I think that not having directors in that process is an integral part in Marvel's ability to get these shows and movies out on time and under budget. So, there is a positive, if you want to see it as a positive, I guess, toward this ruthless machine that can just shepherd on all of these young directors that end up getting all of this experience and all of this credibility and whatnot. And unfortunately, the byproduct, I don't think the byproduct makes that worth it, but it is. I think that it's worth at least acknowledging that, that's something that happens as a result of Marvel's process.
I would say, from what I hear, I do think they are going to probably get directors more involved with the VFX stuff. That's what I do think they're probably going to get that a little bit better. That's from what I've heard. But again, no, Devin, that's spot on, my dude. I would love to talk more about this on podcasts like that. I hope we can talk to you more in the future, man.
For certain. You know where to hit me up. This is my channel. You go drop a subscribe and all of that stuff. And
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming on. This has been a great conversation. My final thoughts on this is I think Devin's on point. I think that change definitely needs to happen. How long that takes and what form it takes, though, who knows? I think there's just a lot of issues across the board in the industry that need to be addressed, and hopefully with unions, maybe just better conditions for these VFX workers, hopefully it not only creates a better product, but also, helps people stay mentally and physically healthy too, because that's really important. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears literally go into the stuff that we have in our entertainment, and that should never be ignored. So, again, I want to thank everyone for coming on. I appreciate it very much. I'll probably be on again tomorrow night, because Max is on vacation, so me and Brian are kind of streaming just to take over things for a little bit while he's gone.
Yeah, what happened to Brian?
He had to go make some dinner. So, we'll hopefully be back tomorrow night. I have no clue what I'm going to stream about, though, but we'll probably talk about something. But
let's talk
about Grace Random. Just kidding.
No. She should be banned forever.
She got banned from New York. But all right, guys, I'll see you later. And again, peace.